I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much for having me. I'm proud to be honoring the legendary Michael Mann. I won't say anything about the non-legendary one. I have many stories about Michael. Most of them are about ties. One of my favorite stories was we were doing pre-production in California, in LA, and I didn't know him very well yet. And we were there to do a makeup test at some factory somewhere. So the plan was to be picked up at my hotel and go to the test. It's very simple. I don't remember the exact details about how this plan changed. I just know at some point it morphed into Michael being in the car that picked me up to go to the makeup test so we could talk. Little did I know then that this is a thing with Michael. He likes to ride in cars with you to kill many birds with many stones. He talks to you, he talks on the phone, he reads to himself, he reads out loud, all the while being transported at 100 miles an hour, which I've heard him tell multiple different drivers when he gets in cars. He says, don't be afraid to drive fast. So he picks me up, and Michael was there, it's early, and we're driving and we're talking, and at some point he says, do you want coffee? And I say, sure. So he tells the driver to pull over to this 7-Eleven we're about to pass to get some coffee, which is not what I was expecting from someone from LA, but I roll with it. So we get out, we get some coffee. Michael pulls out his wallet, but he's also kind of juggling the lid to the coffee and his wallet and his coffee, so I say, I'll pay. Michael immediately takes me up on that offer. I'm kidding, but I did pay, which is important. So we get back in the car, we go through this intersection in front of the 7-Eleven, and it's one of those crazy California intersections where it's like 16-way intersection. It's like 3 rows going one way, 3 rows going the other, and it just repeated on all 4 sides. So we go through one of those intersections, and we get on the ramp to the highway, and we go back to driving and talking. And at some point, Michael says something like, oh no, I can't find my wallet. I think I left it on the counter when we were getting coffee. So luckily there's a highway that we were on that ran parallel to a local road that went back to the 7-Eleven. So Michael told the driver to get off at the next exit and we go back. So he does, we drive back. We make it back to this crazy intersection. Now, we're at a red light. We're a few cars back in the middle lane. There are 3 lanes. The right lane goes back onto the ramp that we just came from. Our lane that gives you the option to turn left or go straight. And then there's the left lane where you can only turn left that goes to the 7-Eleven. And again, we're at a red light. So we're stopped for like 10 seconds before Michael gets impatient and says something like, I'll be right back, opens the door, hops out of the car and starts running across traffic to the 7-Eleven. He crosses the left lane, he jumps over the median, runs across 3 lanes of oncoming traffic, runs through the 7-Eleven parking lot and disappears into the store. So the driver and I are just kind of left there with each other, not sure what to do. And I say, does he do this a lot? And he says, yes. And before I could ask him to clarify, Michael bursts back through the door, runs back through the gas station like he robbed it, like he's Neil McCauley in Heat. I threw that in there. Again, he runs across the parking lot, across 3 lanes of traffic, jumps the median, crosses the left lane and gets back into the car all before the light turns green. Story not over. You would think the sensible thing then would be to turn left safely, follow the lane, turn around, come back through the intersection, get back on the highway. But then Michael told the driver, who once again was a few cars back, to cross 2 lanes to the right to get in front of all of the traffic to get back on the ramp on the highway because he didn't want to lose any more time. It was a moment when I felt that I'm fucked. No, I'm kidding. But it actually was a moment where I felt I really saw Michael. If he does this with lost time on a wallet, how does it translate to being on a film set? Well, it's a very dumb, knowable question. What he does is create some of the most arresting shots and sequences and characters that I've ever put to film. His films have not only influenced movie making, but have influenced our culture and will continue to do so throughout time. But how he does it, the commitment, the drive, the self-sacrifice is the portrait of a person that's very moving and compelling and human to me. I witness him take on all the obvious obstacles of filmmaking, racing time, scheduling, technology, losing financing, gaining financing, losing financing and gaining financing, but whose biggest struggle was far and away how he openly battled with himself. He profoundly cares and will go to great lengths to create something that's immersive and deeply felt as films are to him. He's the guy I saw getting coffee. He doesn't want anything to get in the way of what he's trying to do, including himself. So as a result, Michael is impatient with himself. He's meticulous, he's technologically proficient, his research and preparation is exhaustive, he's relentless in his pursuit of authenticity, and he's exactly who you want watching your performance, because as demanding as he is about all of those elements, and with himself, he's on a mission to serve the humanity of his characters. Every technical decision is in support of that. Humanity to Michael is key. It trumps a cool shot, it trumps doing it in one, it trumps his own time spent on his own exhaustive research. And what I was alluding to earlier about ties, he was asked one time when he was so caught up on ties, and he said, if you're looking at the tie, then you're not looking at the actor's face. And when asked recently on what kept him invested in wanting to make Ferrari for over 20-something years, he always replied, I would go back to the script, and I would get drawn in by the humanity of the characters. Also, to really know something, you have to make it a part of yourself. And in rewatching Michael's movies, and having worked with him, I see Michael's humanity in every frame. He's in the diner scene with Frank and Jesse in Thief. His preparation is in the bank robbery sequence in Heat. He's in the epic against all odds romance between Hawkeye and Cora in Last of the Mohicans. He's in the anger about the injustice felt in The Insider, and he's the psycho in Manhunter. Michael's films have given me moments that I will replay throughout my life, but it's his humanity that has been the most moving to me. At one point on set, we were talking about early days at the Academy and him sitting in a room looking around and seeing Sam Peckinpah and Gregory Peck and Frank Pearson, Sidney Lumet, and being of all of them as people and their films. And I remember thinking at the time, you know, don't say anything. He doesn't realize that you look at him the same way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a great honor. Thank you. Yeah. Anna Driver, thank you so much for your beautiful introduction and a total commitment to transform yourself into Enzo Ferrari, and Penelope for bringing alive the primal Laura, and Shailene for the passion and the quiet intelligence with which you inhabit Lina Lardi. If there is innovation in Ferrari, it's because it captures lives, it resonates with the way lives are, conflicted with internal contradictions, storms of opposing impulses that never resolve. Contradictions and resolution resolve only in movies. In life, they go with us, probably to the grave. In Ferrari, the asymmetry of its characters, their edginess, the strafing wit, resonated so powerfully within me that I was determined across decades to make it happen. And Lina maintaining the real home of Enzo, their second family, but Enzo's confronted with the yearning of an illegitimate son, Piero, for his father, or the volcanic Laura's dead certainty. Enzo is responsible for the death of Dino because he was distracted by the co-pilote, the other son was growing stronger while Dino was growing weaker. These kinds of fractals of life's lived in 3 months of 1957, it was so unusual that it had the power to compel us to endure and get this film made. And the credit for a lot of that goes to Troy Kennedy Martin, my late friend who passed away in 2009 and wrote this screenplay in 1994. And he's really the heart and the core of the innovation. And, this is for Troy. So thank you very much.